Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this look at the review process. I was thinking that since we've got our first episode now done, fully animated, so the first pass of animation on Worlds Apart episode 1, which was actually episode 8. Just looking at it, I thought, well, as we were going to get started, as I was planning, to actually get started, is just like, okay, cool. What's going to be the best one, or the one I've got the most assets ready to get underway? Because shit, we got to get this underway to start getting it out. Looking through all the scripts and everything, I went, you know what? Episode 8, what we'd written for episode 8, I've got all the characters actually made, or nearly all the characters made for that one when I started. I went, you know what? Let's actually put that one out first. So what you actually see is episode 1 in Worlds Apart was originally written in the scripts to be episode 8. So there's my first little bit of information for behind the scenes stuff for today. But that was the fun part to start off with. But we've gone through, we've actually got a first pass on all the animation. Now, if you actually go check out my reviews article, which I've thrown out through Remember Kate, you can have a check out my thoughts on the review process. One of the things I say is reviews are awesome. They're great to go through, and they're always better with a team to bounce off of. You know, I've been fortunate enough to be in feature films where you can go over and over shots again and pick out details down to minute pixels, to say, yeah, why is that? That's just not right. That's so much fun having a big screen, sitting in a cinema, watching stuff and getting feedback like that. But I thought, well, you know what? I've busted through this really, really well. We've got a couple of days left for polish, which over a 2-minute animation is actually quite a luxury. So I thought, you know what? How about, as a behind the scenes, we go through this together. You can kind of get my thoughts and my ideas on what I think about episode 1 coming up, which hasn't been released yet, which is great. We've got a launch party coming up in 2 weeks. So after the launch party comes out, I'm going to throw this video out as well, so that you can kind of go through what happened on the way to becoming Worlds Apart episode 1. So here we go. Anyway, there's the first rough animation pass, or the blocking pass, which I called it. I just called it first pass because I don't know if I was going to ever actually get a chance to go back and review the animation and do updates on it. And as we go further through the series, I know we're going to be pushed for time to actually get this done. So I'm really excited that I get to go through this and review it and share all my random ideas, what I'm thinking about while I'm putting this together, what I've got. So a little bit of a background for you. The characters were not all built when I started, and they've been iteratively upgraded while I've been going through it, while we've been working through it. So now that we've got to a point where the character rigs are actually working pretty good, there is a change I want to do to their legs. So you'll notice as we go through that they don't really move their legs too much. So in this particular one, that's another reason I chose this episode to start off with. They're actually just sitting around talking. It is a situation comedy. You know, this is their situation. They don't have to move that much. Everyone's just sitting down trying to grill Omar on, what he's doing. So just looking at this first thing, the first thing I'm going to say to get to fix, where is this? I'm going to do it in blue because I like blue. I want to have a look at his snout because his snout colors here, these two are meant to be the same color. So for some unknown reason, this has turned gray, which is the same as his neck, which is fine, but these colors are white. So yeah, there's a bit of a discrepancy between his snout, Badger's snout, and what's going on. He looks funny, basically. So number one, he looks funny. Have a look into what's happening with Badger's snout. Everyone else in here, the other one which I know I don't like at the moment is Indra's hands. Let's just undo that one. Go to the next frame. Let's change the color to and go Indra's hands. He's only really got this one hand position. I would like to get some more, but more hand. more hand. But in the way that the framing is, I think that there's a few issues kind of inside the way the frame is happening. I really like that I've got a big gap around Omar as he is the main character, so he needs his space. So I really like that there's a big empty space around him. Another thing which I'm going to try to see if I get time is parallax. I think in this particular shot and the last shot, because they're the wide shot of the teams, I'm going to try and just create a little bit of interest in the shot, because this back here has depth. You can see that there's depth in the shot, back that way, back that way. There's supposed to be depth in this shot, especially in 2D. It's really hard to create that illusion of depth. What I want to try and do, which I know the software can handle, which is also something I've been really loving learning about, because it's been a crash course in using Moho to get the 2D animation out, is to create planes. So basically create some depth and push the camera so that the camera goes across the screen that way, just a nice little drift across that way so we get some movement. But in the background then we'll actually have some parallax between between this edge, this edge, this edge, and the background, and the characters that sit at the front. They'll all kind of move at slightly different pace, and I think that'll just create a little bit more interest in this shot. And it's the opening shot. It's going to be the first shot which everyone's going to see. So I really kind of want to push it as far as I can in the time that I got. How am I going to achieve that? Well, actually, it's a pretty simple little trick which we can do for this one to do that. But we've currently got the camera. I'm just going to draw a little thing here. We've currently got the camera sitting here in world space, and currently, let's see, we've got the characters here, we've got the environment there, we've got two sides of the environment, they sit together, and the background, and basically they all sit on top of each other. So what I'm going to do in the world of 2D is actually turn it into a little bit of characters will be on the front plane, but then I'm going to grab the next plane, which will be the two desks, and basically sit them back a little bit. If I get enough time to artistically do it, because it's going to be a bit tricky, it's not going to be tricky, it's just going to be time consuming. I want to put the two rows of desks back here, because I'm missing desks back here as well. And then right at the back, I'll actually have another plane back here, which will be the wall. Basically, just by going through and giving this little bit of space between them, or, you know, it's an old Disney trick where they actually had the depth on glass. In practical cameras, they used to stack it up on glass and actually have the different heights with the camera on the top and then glass layers to give the depth, and they could move the camera. In CG, it's a lot simpler. It's just like, oh, you drop in 3 different cards, 3 different depths, and just have a bit of a drift, and that'll create the illusion of depth in the background, which will just make it a little bit more interesting. But I think I really do need to get just a couple of desks back here to help this vanishing point go back. So a couple of desks here. Actually, let's give myself a clean frame so I know what I'm doing here. So extra desks, just as green, add desks. 1 and 2 back in there, and then also add cards, add depth cards. And there we go. So I think that particular point is definitely a valid one which needs to get done. Hopefully that one can come in as it plays.
And that was when I just hit a wall. She was so tough.
I really like his reaction. It's kind of little and subtle, but I really don't like, if I can get his, everyone here, something which I've noticed, Let me just go green to start off with. Badge has got a nice relaxed position. He's got a little bit of a gap in here, which I'd like to fix. Kind of fix him up so he doesn't get a gap. Kamala is very stiff. Very stiff. Omar has got this awesome kind of lounging position. I'd love to get his legs out into a bit more of a relaxed pose. But his upper body and his arms are really nice, and his head looks around really nicely. But Indra, I mean, Indra's character is that he is very stiff, trim, and proper. But since he is on this yoga ball here, I would like to just soften up his arch a bit. And he had some mega issues with this leg, so I've actually want to rebuild his leg to kind of get his body to soften just a little bit because he's just a little stiff. Kamala's been good because I can move her arms around and she's got a bit of a, she's got a little bit of sass to her, but her legs and her hips, feet, they're all very static. Everyone else looks pretty good. Badge, like I said, I like Badge except for that little gap there, so need to fix the gap. Gap on Badge. Soften hips and legs, and because her legs are straight. Legs. And Indra, I just like to just soften his back. It's all about posing. Because these guys, I've got to try and get as much personality into them that I can. Like I said, this is the opening shot. This is where if you haven't been introduced, no one's been introduced to Indra before. So really, we've got to get him in. I love the voice of Indra, the voice artist done such a brilliant job of him. But I've got to be able to get as much character into these poses as possible. So for him, definitely needs to be softened up. I love him. Omar is looking brilliant. Like I said, I just like to clean up his legs a little bit. Soften Kamala with her hips and her legs. But I think Badge has got a really cool pose. I like Badge's pose. Yes, there's broken bits. I'm sure someone will pick out that there is that broken bit there. But there's also a broken bit with his shoulder. And the bit with his snout too.
Close the deal.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, let's just go here.
Hold on.
We've got, look at this. Where are we? We're at frame 208. Frame 208, we've got a little bit of a drift on the hand. Let's actually change the color. We've got a drifty hand here. Let's fix that up so it looks like she's actually moving it away. Fix hand. Fuck. I might share that. I have a dodgy tablet. I haven't updated it. I've had it for about 5-6 years, my Wacom tablet, but now it's got an interesting thing where it thinks I'm touching it all the time, so it'll pop up with, oh, do you want to change your layout? Or it'll zoom in and out, which is really annoying, but...
Hold on. Let me get this straight. This has been...
Alright, so that is scene 1. I quite like this.
Hold on. Let me get this straight.
This particular thing, like the way they all end up, I'm actually pretty happy with. Omar's got his own space. He's not getting crossed over by anything except the skirt. I'm a little bit, I guess you'd say, lost as to what's happened with his color here. I'm going to have to look into what's happening here, but there's an issue with that because it's supposed to be tan like the other side. I think this is something which is moho relevant, that if you put a gradient on it and then skin it, it doesn't quite follow properly. But if you put the gradient on the vertexes while they're then animating, the gradient works. So it's just a little work process thing, which I've only learnt while going through building these things. Gradient colors don't work, but vertex colors animate quite nicely. this over here, I don't think this is a good one too, but Badger's shadow is not matching under his feet, just kind of needs a little bit moved back. Um, but I think everything else there for the time, I mean, I can pick it all bits and pieces here, like I think I'm going to get back to a shot a bit later on where that's been moved. So I might need to just double check that, and I think there's an extra coffee cup that's missing back down here behind the computer, because I think I moved. Oh no, all the ones are moved. Cool. All right, so that's only shot one. Let's have a look at shot two.
This has been one of our best product runs. Indra has just done the best numbers on the floor.
All right, so start off with the things that I know which are annoying with this one. Like she comes in, but it's not really a straight move. Like between the cut, if we look at it between the cut, she's actually quite central, but then we go across here, she's behind center. I'm not too worried about that one. I think that works between cut, but what really doesn't work from a character perspective is, as I've actually pulled it apart and know about it, is just the shape of these eyes. I can't just copy paste animation clips like I'm used to 3D, where you can actually write out an animation pose in a library to, actually have it backed up somewhere and then transfer it to another character. I'm going to have to hit up the Moho groups and see, is there a way of doing that? Because I've fixed this eye after I've done this shot, but in this shot, her eyes just look a little weird.
This has been one of our best product runs.
The other thing which is bugging me a little bit about this shot is how close her hands are to the bottom of frame. Whether I just pull back a little bit more, on the character, give her a bit more space, because she's got it. She's standing away from everybody else. So I might just want to give it a bit more frame. Back here. Go to annotation, that one. I might just want to give her a bit more, especially this hand, either pull her hand up or pull the frame wider. I kind of like to go a bit wider, just kind of so I'm a bit more, like that. Give her a bit more space, because just chopping her off at the elbow here, that's a horrible looking kind of place to cut her off at, and just how low those hands are. She's got a big head, so she fills up a lot of space anyway, and there's also a lot of dead space over here, so it might be nice just to just frame her up a little bit better, probably even pull her more center. I like that she's just off to the right, but just a little bit more center, back a little bit to give her a bit more space for her fingers to work and her arms to work.
Indra has just done the best numbers on the floor. Badger's been steady.
That was a little bit clunky.
Best numbers on the floor.
That little animation piece there. Let's go for blue for animation. This turn, and she just goes clunk. She's just like, she doesn't have, she's got two breakdown ones, but this particular motion here at frame 133, it's a bit clunky. Clunky Anim. See if we can smooth that out a little bit.
Badger's been steady. Even Abby was able to sell someone off an inquiry.
This was not in the script, this one, but I just love this. This just works. Framing's nice. I love Abby as a character. She's such a fun character to kind of write in. So I'm really happy that we squeezed her right into this first one.
She doesn't even know what the product is. She doesn't even know what the product is.
There's a little bit here, 3001. There's a eye stutter. Like the eyes here are stuttering. I think this is caused by the head shake that I'm putting in here. I think that she's shaking her head, but I haven't got, it's not like a 3D rig where you can lock the eyes somewhere. I've got the eyes that go through the head, so they can't actually keep looking at a spot. They go with the head, and it's really causing this weird shaking. I don't know if I can fix that, but that's one I want to fix, is shaky eyes, 301.
And you've blown a breathalyzer number?
Does that feel backwards? It does feel backwards. Not that it can't be done, but kind of breathalyzer number. I don't know. I think I think it's a little bit too pronounced too. Because holding your arm up like that. She's not even looking at it. So I think this particular pose here, this pose is not working. It's not that it's not working, it's very clear, but you know, her shoulders up, her arms up really high. I'd rather actually make her hand bigger and have her arm more comfortable. Pose isn't working. Yeah, I'm a bit more thinking like, you know, just actually have her just a little bit more relaxed in her arm. This will also help if we go wider too and get that big 0 there. We might need to just kind of scale up the hand a little bit, just to make it a bigger emphasis on just that 0. I'm still not convinced that that 0 is good. Breathalyzer number is a 0. Either way, I think for her to get that, both of them are very uncomfortable. But if we actually just did that and got rid of that, I think that might work better. So it might actually need to be the hand pose. Might just update the hand. I think that would be good.
Let's get back to basics.
This blink flutter is...
Let's get back to basics.
That flutter is too overdone. I thought that would work too. I thought, oh yeah, that'll just break her up. But just...
Let's get back to basics. Did you open with the...
So that's shot 2. Woo!
Did you open with the script?
So I really like that. That's a nice aggressive pose. She gets really cranky at him and aggressive. The only thing I don't really like about this one, which I'm going to have to look into, is why does this belt buckle change color? So the belt changes. I think that again is because I've got a gradient on it, but I'm going to have to look at it. This particular hump here on her as well for her shoulders, I'm not, don't really like that. It's either because her, you know, bring her head up, I'd probably just want to move her shoulder back up in here so that it runs kind of a bit more, a bit nicer, like you actually get a bit more of a nicer shape, because her shape at the moment for that shoulder's not really cool. I like his reaction. His reaction's really good.
Yes, I followed the...
The only thing I don't really like is that I'm breaking around the neck here of Indra, of Omar. Omar's thigh and his neck are separate, so he can move his neck around and it comes out of his tie and his scarf. And I'm sure everyone's probably been able to pick out really, really quickly to go, where did that come from? Scooby-Doo. Of course it comes from Fred from Scooby-Doo. One of my favourite things, but yes, that's my Scooby-Doo reference.
Script. I'm the one that wrote the script we use, remember? I used the damn script.
The other thing that kind of bugs me about Omar at the moment, because I've kind of got him sitting way back in a chair, this whole shoulder is really, really high because I've tilted the character over rather than rolled him over from his body, because his body broke even worse if I just rolled him over. So because I've done that, it looks like his collar's really, really high and he's really sitting kind of skew. another thing I'm just not very happy with. I do like in this particular one, while I'm going along here, I like that his arm's just down here and he's got his coffee cup. It's like the only prop we use in this episode, so I really want his coffee cup in there, so that's really nice, and I kind of like that he's leaning on it. I did miss putting armrests on his chair. I think I might have to put armrests on his chair, so he's got a reason to have it up there, because you'll see it in later shots, it just looks weird.
I'm the one that wrote the script we use, remember? I used the damn script.
And you were relatable with the speaking and listing of the benefits that this useless product could add to this miserable person's pathetic little existence.
It's right there on the script, Indra. Dot point number 2. Be relatable.
From the rest of that then, since this is actually a really long shot,
With the speaking and listing of the
beyond the
benefits
little
that
bits
this
with
useless
Kamala,
product could add to this miserable person's pathetic little existence.
It's right there on the script, Indra.
she is not reacting to Omar though. Just at the end of the shot.
Dot point number 2. Be relatable.
Yeah, she hasn't changed her gaze from Indra, so we might just need to see. She goes up to Indra, but as Omar goes back, she moves her body but doesn't change her eyes. So we really need to kind of fix up her eye line, fix eye line at the end of the shot. Really nice, cool. The rest of this is really cool. They're interacting well. And as you can, this is where I was talking before. The jawline into this is all one nice color with a bit of a different color here. And it fades over the top and goes up. So there's something in that previous shot that I don't know why his his line is broken, or his colors are broken. And you'll see my little terror doll at the back here is really huge. Scale. Now this is a really low prio one, but it's just bugging me.
Ran the pitch. The pitch!
This one's actually one, it's a design problem, a design issue, which I haven't rectified yet, but it was something I was thinking while I was animating. All the other characters so far it works all right with, but for Badge, he's got, from my original concept and from the first season, he's got more of a slope on his nose. I kind of want to get that slope back as he looks sideways, but I also want him to, you know, when you talk, your jaw usually moves. Now, it's a real cheap way out, which is a choice, a cheap way out just to have his mouth move. But for this character, I think I'm going to have to get his jaw to move so he can open his mouth while he talks, just because it's such a long pronounced jawline.
The key to making this all...
This really bugs me as well. I have to go through and fix his framing. The same with what I said with Kamala before. This is a lot wider on him and it looks good, but where he's pointing, well, that's down to the ground. It's not at the characters, even though we just came from a shot where we saw the characters over here. You know, he's pointing down to the ground. It's not clear where he's pointing. So the frame for this one framing's wrong. The silhouette. Silhouette. I can't even spell. Still don't know if I got it right. Not wrong, it's just not clear. So I really want to go through and clean up that so that he's got a clear silhouette, because this is not working nice. This is not working well at the moment.
work. You clearly stated the pitch.
One of my favourite parts at the moment is this kind of punk, punk, punk.
To making this all work. You clearly stated the pitch.
I guess just as a background thing, this actual action is then not cut out puppeteering. This is actually just frame to frame drawings to get him to punch the hand, just because I couldn't, I was having issues getting the transition between the puppet arm behind him and then in front of him. It wasn't working, so I've just actually drew in an extra extra frame to get the hand, the shadow, and the way he punches.
Clearly
And
stated the pitch.
while I really, really like that, it's also pretty much off the end of the, it's so close to the edge of the frame. I just want to pull back just that little bit, just to make that a bit easier to see.
Come on, I'm not an amateur. I sizzled that pitch enough to fry a whole dozen eggs. My pitch is tight as.
Well, then what about the objections? There must have been objections if you didn't land the sale.
That's the crazy part. When I got to
Cool. I actually don't think I need to come back to this one. Yeah, there's a little bit of crossover between the two characters, and his shoulder's not great, but I'd be quite happy with these two just interacting the way they are. Yay! Scene 5's good. Shot 5's good. Now, shot 6. Now, quick story for this one. Shot 6 was actually the first shot I did because he's one character. And this is where I noticed that there was multiple issues with the character which I had to fix up during the season. During the episode. Like, look at the back of his head. It is flat. His nose is sliding off the side of his face. He doesn't look very good. You know, you look at his eyebrows. I think his eyebrows weren't pacing either. And at this moment, I couldn't do any up and down rotation on his face either, which has really helped later in, like, you know, in the other shots, he actually turns around and talks, and it looks really, really good. But for this one, I didn't
That's
have
the
that
crazy
yet.
part. When I got to objections, was only silence. Nothing.
And you can probably just see, like here, boom, whoop, one frame too many. You can see his scarf's going over top of his jaw, which I managed to fix up in another shot. Or
Silence. Nothing. Nada. It's like Space Gold up the other end of the line. It was a huge vacuum of empty listening back at me.
And the other things which really bug me about this one is just that because I've updated the rig so many more times, it's now a lot nicer to kind of animate with him because he's just a little, like this last section here, he's just
A
clunky.
huge vacuum of empty listening back
Boom,
at me.
boom, boom, which is fine for cutout animation. It's nice to actually get him in and hold the pose and then move to the next pose as well. But if I've got a choice, I'd rather he moved a lot smoother between these poses. And he also doesn't have his nose and his eye sliding off his face, and the back of his head being so flat. Oh, see, look at that. I've got these extra desks back here.
It's like Space Gold up the other end of the line.
The other thing which bugs me about this one is he's off to the left of frame, which, because he's the center character for this actual episode, I'd rather not get too flustered about having his cup in here or framing up the cup. I think I want to frame him center. This is like the only character which I'd put center, because as it goes through the sequence, he's always kind of the central character because he is the butt of the joke. So just this shot, just center him up. I'd probably, now that I know I can do it, I might even change his hand position to have the coffee cup actually in front of him rather than having to be so far out away from him, just to help with the way this shot, this story beat of him actually telling his issue works. I really want to bring him into the center and have him just centered into the shot.
It was a huge vacuum of empty listening back at me.
Did you ask if there were any...
Hey, the only time we actually look off in this direction. When I was putting these shots together, I'm like, you know what? I want to have a two-shot where these two actually do interact, but I didn't have a background, so this was an extra thing I did, actually another direction in the room where we actually look at the back wall past all the desks again, just so I could get a two-shot.
any objections? You do know you need to ask for them.
When it does run together, the way that this second objections line actually works, it sounds like, for me, it sounds like Indra wasn't listening at all and he's just come up with objections, but it's not the way it was written. When it was written, it's just like he's continued on. It's like, oh, objections. You know, you've got to ask for the objections, not like, oh, something completely different, objections. I think that's just the way it was delivered, and I didn't get a chance to actually go back and review these lines again. But I think if I could, I'd go back and get the delivery of this objections line from Indra adjusted so that it sounds like he agrees with Kamala, and Omar's reaction. He just wants to reinforce, going, you didn't answer the question about objections. You need to ask for objections, not just consider that, they didn't happen. It's just like, she didn't say anything. It's just like, no, you goose, you need to ask for the objections. And just in the delivery of the lines, I just don't think that quite lands as strongly as what I really wanted.
Duh.
I'm not quite sure about this yet. Particular movement, I might completely drop the arm out and I'd like to do a big tonguey for him and go, I'll see if I've got time, but I think that tongue might need to come in and go, duh, and get rid of the hand.
I need these sales as much as anyone on the floor.
I think I found...
This particular pose here between the cut of Omar, he's actually, just started looking out. It's like I should match between cuts because he's looking down there. And they're looking at each other. So really, both of these guys, I should match between cut.
I think I found your problem.
The big one here is these things. These are annoying me. She is so static in this point, and she's standing up. I'd really like to get a bit more movement in that. Even Badge kind of does move a little bit. It's just a little bit of life. So yeah, just back. Same with the first shot. I'd just like to soften them up a little bit.
Well, what have you found?
Says here on the spreadsheet checklist that the client is deaf.
There we go. Everyone's looking at him. He gets his response. Cool. And that is my review for the 2-minute episode. So now I've got basically a couple of days to actually wrap up a polish pass on that and get as many of those feedback points as possible done. All right. With that, I'm going to bid you adieu. And please, I hope you guys all enjoyed the episode as it comes out, when it comes out. Hopefully it does look better than this and it'll be nice and tight and you'll go, ha ha ha, that was so funny. And then leave me comments, follow us along. We're going to have another 9 more episodes coming. Some of these are really, really cool and I'm so looking forward to animating some of them. So until the next time, goodbye.
Worlds apart, worlds apart, worlds apart.